Welcome to the Personal Finance Podcast for Doctors. This podcast aims to simplify all aspects of personal finance and helps you make smart and informed choices about money so that you can live happier and stress-free lives. Today's episode is brought to you by Chanda Varma, who is a financial coach and vice president with the doctor practice at MFA, the only company in India having a dedicated practice for doctors.
Hi everyone, welcome to this very special podcast edition. It's the World Heart Day, 29th of September, and we have today with us a very, very special guest, Dr. Ajit Menon. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Dr. Menon is an experienced interventional cardiologist with over 28 years of experience. He is currently associated with Lilavati Hospital, Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital, and Breach Candy Hospital in Mumbai. He has performed multiple coronary angiographies and angioplasties and structural heart interventions. Currently, he performs around 15 to 20 angioplasties per week. He is a proctor for complex coronary procedures. He also has extensive teaching experience and has trained and supervised residents and interns in cardiac procedures. He involves himself in research and has been a principal and co-investigator in multiple trials. He is a teacher in Mumbai University for the fellowship course in Interventional Cardiology. He also has another feather to his cap. He is the chairman of Med Titans Management Services, which manages hospitals and healthcare facilities. Hi, Dr. Menon, and thank you so much for joining me today for this podcast.
Thank you, Chanda, and the team from MFA for having me over. It's a privilege for me to be on this podcast. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, Doctor, as you know, we at MFA work primarily with the doctors community in the area of personal finance. So we'd like to start by understanding your earliest memories about money. Can you share a personal experience or lesson related to money from your childhood?
Well, Chanda, we came from a very humble background where my father was the sole provider for all of us and his entire family, including his 7 or 8 brothers. So we were always financially constrained. But the silver lining was that it taught us the value of money to a large extent. It taught us how money is important in our day-to-day life. And it also taught us that we need to save enough for a rainy day. We also realized as time passed that our parents saved whatever they had, sacrificing the niceties of life to give us a fair and good education. It taught me financial discipline at a pretty young age. The financial discipline that we had was that we tried to save whatever money we got. When we started in medical school, we used to do an internship, and at that time we used to get about 400 rupees a month. And subsequently, when we joined the MD classes, we used to get about 1,200 to 1,300 rupees a month. We used to save about 800 rupees of those and try and survive on 400 rupees a month. The basic thing that we had to sort of support my parents by that time because they had retired. And I do remember that when I did my post-graduation, I got about 3,000 rupees a month. And at that time I was almost 27, 28 years of age. And my salary was 3,000 rupees a month. And out of which I used to give 2,200 rupees to my parents to save. And the rest of it was what we sort of survived on. So these are small things which the imprints that are left from childhood in terms of what we see around us, and also the fact that we learned to live with only that amount of money. I do believe that if you have some value for money, you're going to impart it to your kids.
Correct.
If you do not have that value, your kids are going to grow up in a situation where they feel that money grows on trees and that they have a right to get anything they demanded at any point of time.
So with that background that you explained, Dr. Menon, what I have realized is whatever we understand about money from our parents, from the people who influence us in our growing years, it affects our perspective on how we deal with money, how we think about money. So I would like to understand how these lessons that you learned influenced your perspective as a grown adult, as an earning person, and how the decisions that you took regarding your money were guided by these.
See, Chanda, financial security is something which is extremely important. I do realize that when I started off when I got married, I hardly had anything in my bank. I still have I still remember the amount that I had in my bank. So at that time, I had absolutely no financial security. I did not know where my next paycheck is going to come. I had no clue what I was going to do in my life. You remember the song that Papa कहते हैं बेटा बड़ा काम करेगा. So that was all we knew. That yes, we knew that we had to make a mark in life. We knew that we had to earn our living, but we didn't know where it was going to come from. And we have tried various situations in where to join and get work and start making money. There's a saying that health is wealth. It's absolutely right. But conversely, having a decent financial security can also contribute to a feeling of wellness. And to me, financial security to me also means that I don't have to worry as to where my next meal is going to come from. I don't have to worry how do I educate my daughter. I don't have to worry how do I provide for my family. And I can sleep peacefully at night, knowing that my most of my basic needs and basic cares are my entire earlier life has taught me that it's extremely important to practice this sort of a discipline in terms of how to manage your money well, and how to keep it, how to try and keep it growing. Losing money is extremely easy. And another thing that I have never let myself fall into is a debt trap, because debts are easy to come by today. Debts are easy to get in today. You have credit cards which offer you a lot of a lot of money in terms of how much you can spend on those cards. But what you need to realize is at the end of the day, you need to be able to pay it off.
Right.
So that's where the whole thought process comes in.
When I have spoken to so many doctors, at the end of the day, all of us, what we want is to live a good life, not have to depend on others, take care of our parents, take care of our kids and our family, and enjoy doing things that we want to do. And if you actually see, these are all qualitative. It's got nothing to do with, I could be as happy with a 100 rupee coffee as compared to a 10 rupee coffee, right? So it's got nothing to do with the number, but it's got, like you said, more to do with peace of mind. So really
what you need to realize is a person on the road is probably happier than you in a lot of respects. He has his own set of worries, but the carefree attitude that you see is not easy to get amongst people in our state of society. Or we are a privileged lot, but we need to realize that happiness is like you said, is something which is not a finite number.
So tell me, you very rightly mentioned that, everyone has their own, definition of what's enough for them and, the money that they need. But I have seen that, and like you mentioned, financial stress can affect people's health, not only physical, but mental health. It has psychological aspects to it. Because, there's constant worry about, like you said, debt, sometimes bills, or fear of not having money. It leads to stress and can have effects on our health, especially our heart. So could you please stress a little bit on this?
Chanda, stress is something which is one of the major killers today. And stress basically triggers the release of certain hormones, causing a fight or flight response. So those are the sympathetic hormones. So this is a normal protective mechanism that happens, because if you see an animal charging towards you, if that flight or fight response is not there, you either win or you lose. So that protective mechanism is something which happens in every person. But again, constant exposures to these high levels of these hormones definitely have detrimental effects on one's health and the body homeostasis. Now, for example, the corticomedullary functions in the brain are adversely affected. The thinking process of the person gets affected. The decision-making ability of the person gets affected with chronic stress. As far as the heart is concerned, the heart bears a large brunt of the stress, and many cardiovascular related diseases manifest, such as hypertension, diabetes, heart blockages, heart attacks, and sudden cardiac deaths also. And any of these patients under severe financial stress do come to us with a lot of these issues. And again, the financial stresses are to me relative. A person who already has 10 crores in his account, he wants another 5 crores for something else. That itself causes a stress. Whereas a person who has nothing, who has barely anything, has another form of stress. So stress is something which is again, like as I said, it's relative. It's a non-quantifiable factor, and that makes it even more difficult to manage. And not only that, it's not the stress, but it's the reaction to stress which matters.
Absolutely.
And you see that so often that you have people who are who will be absolutely stressed, but they are as cool as you can. And there are certain people who, at the moment they get stressed, they lose their cool completely. So the reaction to stress is what causes most of these problems associated with the heart or with the brain. Remember, the thing is that heart blockages do not develop over a period of a few weeks or few days. They develop over a period of time. But severe stress can also increase the sympathetic hormones. And when they increase the sympathetic hormones, it increase stress and shear stress on the wall of the arteries. And that increased shear stress on the wall of the arteries can cause what are called as plaque ruptures. And these plaque ruptures can cause massive heart attacks. So that's how the whole thing works in terms of acute issues as far as the heart is concerned. So you can technically almost 50% of all heart attacks world over, if you do an angiogram on them, their blockages are usually less than 50 to 60%. The rest of it comes in from the rupture of the plaque, which basically, that means the lining of the artery ruptures, exposing the contents of the wall to flowing blood, and that attracts clots. And that clot is what causes the heart attack. You can have an acute response or you can have a chronic response. The acute response can cause immediate events and can precipitate sudden cardiac events culminating in major episodes. Chronic stresses are something which basically take a toll on your entire, on your lifestyle, you have your mood swings, you have, there's a significant physical toll on your body in terms of appetite loss, weight loss, or binge eating, obesity. You have massive mental stresses, tolls on your and emotional tolls on the person, on the family, friends, the relationships. So in general, it affects the entire spectrum. Every sick patient we treat, every procedure we do carries a bag full of stress, and this never seems to end. But I think we get used to the stresses, and as we start dealing with the patients, we sort of we forget the stresses and we start enjoying what we do. Our basic results are our basic end game is to get the results that we would like to achieve and make sure that the patient goes home. And remember one thing, that all of us are human beings. There are
Correct.
other stresses also that affect us. There are family stresses. There are, more importantly, financial stresses. And none of us are immune from any of these stress. Now, if you look at it, if I look at the financial part of it, financially, I have involved experts like you to advise and guide me over the years. And I have been with you for over 10 to 12 years now. And that has definitely made my life a lot more easier. I think I'm strongly of the opinion that as doctors, we are specialists in what we do. We know how to treat patients. We know how to deal with patients and patients' relatives. We know how to treat diseases. In the same way, we do need financial coaches who are our family doctors, who guide us regarding our financial health. Your coaches regularly interact with us. They help us improve not only our financial knowledge and our financial acumen to a certain extent, but also our financial, our happiness quotient in general. Because I believe that the one safety net that we have is that our finances are well taken care of, and that definitely adds to the happiness quotient that we have. You asked me about how do I deal with stress. Yes, I do believe that physical exercises are physical exercise in any form is one way of dealing with stress, because it actually releases certain hormones which make you feel good. But in my day-to-day my day-to-day work schedule, I unfortunately don't find enough time to sort of inculcate that into my daily habits. But I do take some time off for music. I enjoy music. And also I enjoy photography. I enjoy reading. One thing we also realize is to let go of the small stuff as far as our practice is concerned. And when we do that, it also reduces the stress. We also learn to distribute the stress amongst our juniors or amongst our colleagues, so that we take collective responsibility for certain works. So that also reduces the stress that we have when we deal with seriously ill patients. Proper diet, regular exercises, a regular break from work, and trying to achieve a good work-life balance, which we have not been able to achieve in our lifetime. But I think it's extremely essential to everyone who's coming into this field, that learn to achieve a great work-life balance.
But that's true. In doctors' fraternity, work-life balance is really, really hard to achieve from what I understand. But doctor, our listeners don't probably know that you are an excellent singer. You very nicely just said, I love music, but you are an excellent singer and you're a part of a group called Tuning Folks. Do you want to say something about that?
We are a group of about 6 couples who are very close since the last over 35-40 years from college. So one of us fell ill with cancer, and that was when we realized the importance of sort of catching up regularly, meeting up regularly, and keeping in touch with friends. And that's when we started a small musical program, a small musical group. And we didn't enter singing at that point of time. We invited singers of repute. We invited our friends and family to listen. From there was from that group and those performances, the Tuning Folks was born. The Tuning Folks is a group of doctors, all doctors, who basically are vocalists, and we are supported by a band which is led by the legendary Mr. Ajit Menon, who's one of those performers and stage artists who's performed even with the legendary R.D. Burman. We do these performances for different charities, different causes. We have finished over 100 programs, so that's something to.
That's an achievement.
Yeah, absolutely.
That ups your happiness quotient, not only yours, but all the people who've heard you. And we've had the privilege of being in these programs with you. It's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So Dr. Menon, just taking this thought ahead, you did mention that, doctors are experts in their field and we should leave finances to experts as well. So if I were to ask you how your life changed in the sense, how did you take decisions before you had a financial advisor for yourself, and how did your decision making change or get influence post that? I ask this question because I think one of the main constraints I see when I meet anybody, including doctors, is that whenever I ask them about have you managed your personal finance well, their answer always is, oh yes, I have some mutual funds, I have some stocks, I have real estate, I have fixed deposits, I have done my financial planning, I am sorted. But as you rightly said, just having money, maybe in different buckets also, is not that you have prepared yourself well. So how has having a coach in your life changed your perspective?
Well, Chanda, I think as a doctor, we spend a lot of years studying. And by the time we start earning any money, we are well into the mid or the late 30s. So that's the first setback for us. And what happens is that we start investing our money in whatever form, in whatever way we understand from various sources, and the advice of friends, colleagues, and there are doctors' lounges in hospitals where people talk about money, and we get advice from someone or the other, and we start investing money into either the market or into the mutual funds. Now, we do not have a clear understanding. At least I never had a clear understanding of the rationale of investments and the basis of investments. I often went by private bank relationship managers who approached me for investments. And through them, I stayed committed to a bank for 5 years, 5 or 6 years. But in those 6 years, I had about 6 relationship managers. They kept changing, and I lost a lot of money. So I did realize that as doctors, we need hand-holding for financial health. We need to be explained the diagnostic criteria for financial health, into financial ill health, how to investigate the reasons for our ill health, and as a treatment policy, the planning, strategizing, and goal setting, and also the investment decisions that we need to make in order to make our finances secure. Before I got involved with the MFA, I had lost a lot of money trying to invest randomly into various situations. MFA got me thinking about a goal-based approach to investing, and that is the first time I ever got exposed to it, and that was by the time I was 45 plus, and it also helped train me in proper financial planning, not just managing our investments, but also bringing discipline in savings, handholding us through the ups and downs of our financial situations, plus helping in nominations, etc., enabling other family members to take their financial decisions on their own. I think eventually any relationship between client and a financial advisor has to be based on trust. And I think that is something which has been exemplary as far as my relationship with the MFA is concerned. And that's the reason why all these years down the line, you still are my preferred investment partner. That's quite a achievement as far as I'm concerned, because you must have realized that I'm not comfortable if with a lot of situations, and but at the same time I do get regular updates from your team about the financial status, about the financial investments, and every time that I make a financial investment, I'm explained the rationale behind it and the basis behind it, and what I can expect in the long term. That is something which is very rare amongst a lot of other people whom I have invested with.
Thank you so much, Dr. Menon. A lot of gratitude for the words that you've used, honestly, because we firmly believe that, personal finance is less about money and numbers, and it's more personal. It's not short term. We are always looking at long term, beyond generations, and just trying to make everyone more financially savvy and help them make better decisions in life. I think if you try and do that, everything else follows. Just like, most doctors tell us that I'm not running behind money. I just want to do good work. Money just follows. At the end, Dr. Menon, what is it that you would like to share as an advice to all the doctors who are listening in?
I think what I'd like to tell the doctors is that there are a few doctors who are financially very savvy, who know about investments. Realize one thing, that if you need to invest on your own, you need to follow the markets, you need to read the markets, you need to understand the markets, you need to learn the markets. Just investing because someone has told you to invest into it and not knowing the rationale behind it, not knowing as to when to exit it, not knowing when to take your profits and get out, is something which is going to lead you into trouble. And that has happened to me in the past, and I have learned it the hard way by losing a lot of money. As doctors, we need hand-holding for financial health. And doctors should start at a young age, because by the time they start earning, they're already in the mid-30s. So it's already well past what their peers have started earning money at. And I think they need to learn to save for emergencies. You need to get a good financial counselor. Don't go for these fly-by-night people who come in and talk to you about investing and getting good returns. But anyone who tells you that your returns can be extremely high, you are also getting into a very risky proposition with them. End of the day, having a good financial coach who can take you through the nuances of investing is something which is extremely, extremely, extremely important. I cannot just underscore the need for that. I think it makes your life much more easier. It really helps your finances. In today's life, we do see patients who come in who have already done their research, and a lot of people have self-medicated themselves. And often these self-medications turn out to be wrong. They're detrimental, and it causes more problems than what you can actually treat or what you can envisage. The same holds good in terms of investing. A patient comes to us. The patient comes to us with the trust that what we do for them is going to be absolutely right. The goal of the patient is that the patient wants to go home happy. The patient wants to go home with the sickness cured. The doctor's goal also is to make sure that the patient goes home happy and that the patient is completely cured of his problems. We need to find someone whom we can trust 100%. The same way that a patient makes his own choices on whom to go to, we need to look at someone whom we can trust.
Absolutely right. I think it's always the long term that we have to look at, whether it is wealth or whether it is health. Thank you so much, Dr. Menon. Thank you so much for taking out the time and sharing your thoughts on the World Heart Day with us. It's been a privilege talking to you. Honestly, I just love you and your perspective in life, and there's so much to learn from you.
Thank you so much, Chanda, for being with us for the last so many years and handling us the way you have, including all our ups and downs, all our tantrums, all our issues. I think it's been a pleasure being there, associated with your entire group all these years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were listening to the Personal Finance Podcast for Doctors with Chanda Varma. If you find this podcast relevant and interesting, do share it with other doctors as well. It will be great if you leave a review, share, like and subscribe. You could also let us know if there is any specific topic that you would like us to cover. For any queries or help, you can get in touch with MFA's Doctor Practice Team at 892-800-6140.